Good afternoon from Dooley Health and Care Field in Joliet, Illinois, the home of the University of St. Francis. Fighting Saints today, they take on Mount Mercy in a non-conference baseball matchup. Terry Bonadonna with you on the call for this afternoon's contest. A single 9-inning affair today. These two teams will play 2 games tomorrow in a series that was originally scheduled to be played out in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Weather moved it here, and as you can see, the weather just started to cooperate. The sun just came out seconds ago, and so the Fighting Saints are warming up on a bright and sunny Dooley Health and Care Field. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for today's game. First for the visiting Mustangs of Mount Mercy and their 7th-year head coach Jack Dahm. Tyler Dahm leads things off playing second base. Batting second is Jeremy Figueroa, the third baseman. Joel Vasky hits third in left field. The cleanup batter is first baseman Riley Rundquist. Batting fifth and playing shortstop Kyle Motor. Dalton Hughes is the right fielder. Ryan Knowlton hits seventh. He's the DH. The catcher and number 8 batter is Casey Soul. And batting ninth, center fielder Drake Frazier. The starting pitcher for Mount Mercy today is Brady Cheezel. He will not be in the batting lineup. Let's take a look at the Fighting Saints currently out in the field. Their leadoff hitter is left fielder Jake Vera. Batting second, center fielder Luke Ketchum. Batting third and playing right field today is Eric Maffey. Jake Lasota hits cleanup at first base. John McGuire bats fifth. McGuire is the second baseman. Batting sixth, shortstop Brian Hidalgo. The third baseman and 7-hitter is Hector Carrillo. Batting eighth, designated hitter Josh Kernbauer. And hitting ninth is catcher Dan Gussel. That's the starting 9 for the Fighting Saints and their manager Brian Mahalik. The starting pitcher taking his final warm-up pitches right now is right-hander Sam Pileggi. Pileggi, an infielder in his spare time, is a junior from Plainfield, Illinois, and Plainfield Central High School. 5 feet 9 inches tall. Pileggi today makes his third appearance as a starter on the mound this year. He has no record and a 6.75 ERA in 6 2/3 innings. He's allowed 7 runs, 5 of them have been earned. He's given up 10 hits and 3 walks. He has struck out 5 batters so far this year. He becomes the first Fighting Saint to make his 3rd start of the season, and he gets it going with a ball low and inside. It's 1-0 on Tyler Dahm as we are off and running here in Joliet. Second home game of the season for the Fighting Saints. Again, originally scheduled to be a road game, but it turns out to be the second time on their home field this week as Pileggi misses downstairs on Dahm, 2-0. Fighting Saints are in their 10th game overall this year. They started with back-to-back weekends on the road before returning home for the first time on Tuesday. That was a loss against Lewis University. The 2-0 pitch from Pileggi is over the inner third. It's a strike, and the count is 2-1. Tyler Dahm is hitting just 192 so far this year. He's 5 for 26 at the plate. About to see his 4th pitch in this at-bat, and he swings through it. The count is even 2-2. First swing of the game for Tyler Dahm. It is a cold day. Temperatures are expected to climb into the low 40s by the time this one is over, but we're not there just yet. Again, the sun just came out, so already feeling a lot nicer now than it was just 5 minutes ago. So there's a chopper softly hit down the third base line. It's a foul ball, and the count remains 2-2 on Dahm. Mount Mercy comes into today's game with a 2-6 record to start the year. They've lost their last 3 games consecutively down in Arizona. This was meant to be their home opening weekend, but instead they'll play their 9th, 10th, and 11th consecutive games on the road to start the season. 2-2 the count on Dahm. This is the 6th pitch of the at-bat. And it's fouled away. He'll see a 7th pitch. Good opening sequence for Dahm, keeping the at-bat alive. Pileggi fell behind him 2-0. He's come back to work the count even. And now struggling to put away Dahm. Figueroa stands in the on-deck circle. 7th pitch in this righty-righty matchup. Fouled off behind home plate over the netting and into the seats. It's still 2-2. Fighting Saints in white today. The Mustangs are in their navy blue tops with white bottoms. Officially the road team today. Ball 3, and the count goes full. This was supposed to be in Mount Mercy, but once the location was changed, St. Francis did become the home team, not just in location, but on the scoreboard as well. This is the 9th pitch of the game already for Pileggi, still the opening hitter. And Tyler Dom pops it up down the right field line, slicing into foul territory. And the at-bat will continue as Dom will see a 10th pitch. Pileggi wearing short sleeves on the mound despite the sub-40-degree temperature. I'm looking around, I think just about everybody else is in long sleeves, including the batter Dom. It looks like the catcher is not either. Dan Gussel making the start behind the plate for the Fighting Saints today. Another 3-2, righty to righty. Fouled back again. Well, if nothing else, Tyler Dom right now may be shortening the appearance of Sam Pileggi. Still not fully stretched out to start the season. He's thrown just 6 2/3 innings total over his first 2 starts, so not sure how deep the intention is for him to go today, but this is becoming a very long first inning. Fly ball into fair territory, right field. Eric Maffey barely moves a muscle, camps under that ball and makes the catch. So finally 11 pitches into the game, we have a result for the first batter. Tyler Dom pops out to shallow right field, 1 up, 1 down, and that'll bring up Jeremy Figueroa. 11 pitch at bat is not necessarily going to shorten your time in the game considerably, but if Figueroa and then Vasky, who's on deck, can put together good at bats as well, this could become a difficult first inning for Pileggi, even as he does retire the leadoff man. First pitch to Figueroa is taken in the dirt, ball 1. Pileggi started out Dom with a couple of balls, came back and ended up throwing 8 strikes in the at-bat. So he's fallen behind Figueroa as well. We'll see if he can come back to get him. Fly ball into left center field, high in the air. Long run for both Ketchum and Vera, but that ball has plenty of hang time, and so Ketchum has all the time he needs to get under it and make the catch. So a quick out this time after a long at-bat resulted in a flyout. Figueroa flies to center on just the second pitch of his trip to the plate, and that brings Joel Vasky up with 2 outs and the bases empty. Mount Mercy as a team this year comes in hitting just .209 for the season. Again, very early. Those numbers have plenty of time to change, but offense has been a struggle for them so far this year. They would like to get off to a good start today, but not in good position to do so, as Pileggi for the first time today finds the zone on the first pitch. 0-1 on Joel Vasky, who has been good in the batter's box. .280 this season. He's 7 of 25 with 5 extra base hits. He's driven in 3 runs. The 0-1 taken up in the zone for strike 2. So now the Fighting Saints are just 1 pitch away from getting out of what has become a long top of the first, despite the fact there haven't been any base runners. This will be the 16th pitch of the inning from the junior Sam Pileggi. Ripped hard down the left field line, but that cuts foul, and it lands on the berm out beyond the left field border, still 0-2. The grass is still dead and yellow down the right and left field lines. It's the only natural grass we'll see in this ballpark. The playing surface is all artificial turf. The 0-2 popped up behind home plate back towards the press box, and just in front of us it lands in the seating area. Still 0-2. The bright green of the fake grass on the field belies the winter weather conditions here. That dead grass and the trees with no leaves on them down either line in the berms tell a different story as Vasky takes ball 1. Fighting Saints thought that should have gone as strike 3, particularly the left side of the infield. They were both jogging back towards the dugout down the first base line, but had to return to their positions. Here's the 1-2. Fouled back off the screen. These Mustangs are doing a good job of not going down without a fight here in the first inning. We've already seen a combined 8 two-strike foul balls hit. And this will be the 20th pitch of the inning from Sam Pileggi, who has not allowed a base runner yet. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and the inning does come to a close. So it wasn't easy for the Fighting Saints right-hander, but he got the job done. 1-2-3 go the Mustangs in the top of the first. No score as the Saints come to bat for the first time. Bottom of the first inning, St. Francis comes to bat for the first time. Jake Vera, Luke Ketchum, and Eric Maffey are due up. Lesota, McGuire, Hidalgo, Carrillo, Kernbauer, and Gussel make up the rest of the starting lineup. And they are facing the right-hander for Mount Mercy, Brady Cheezel. Cheezel, tall righty, pitches out of the stretch to start today's game, and his first pitch is knocked to the left side where it's caught on a fly by the shortstop Kyle Motor. Jake Vera is retired on the lineout, and after a long, laborious top half of the first, Cheezel gets the bottom of the inning started with a first pitch out. Brady Cheezel, 6 foot 6 inches tall, from Dubuque, Iowa. He's making his third start of the year. Tough going so far, 0-2 with an 11.25 ERA. Ball 1 up and in on Luke Ketchum to start his at-bat. Cheezel this year has pitched 8 innings. He's allowed 10 runs on 11 hits. He's only walked 1 batter, but he's only struck out 2. So he pitches to contact. And here he makes contact with Luke Ketchum. Got him on the upper arm, and on the 1-0 pitch, Ketchum is aboard. A hit by pitch puts our first base runner of the game in motion. First 4 batters between these two teams combined had been retired. That's the first batter that Cheezel has hit this year. 4th time, a team high, that Luke Ketchum has been hit. And now here's the Fighting Saints' top hitter so far in the young season, Eric Maffey. Coming off of a big campaign last year, he's off to a huge start this season. He takes ball 1 outside. Batting better than .400. He comes in at .406. He leads the team in all of the Triple Crown categories. 4 homers, 12 RBIs. A quiet day on Tuesday against Lewis has dropped his slugging percentage down under 1,000. But still coming in at .938 with a .525 on-base percentage. He's been spectacular at the plate, and he's ahead in the count here, 1-0, with a man at first and 1 down. Maffey, it's a sharp grounder right at the shortstop, and it's under the glove of Kyle Motor. Out into left field, Ketchum advances to second base. Maffey moves up to first. He is safe, and there are 2 on with 1 out. I don't know that would have been a double play had it been made by Motor. because he did have to take one step to his right and try to backhand it. Jake Lasota, the cleanup batter, stands in. Just because of the fact that he tried to backhand it, I doubt they would have turned two, but they would have had one out easily had Motor been able to make the play. So Lasota takes ball one. Cheezel has started off each of the last three hitters with ball one. Hasn't given up a hit here this inning, but he has seen two men reach base. A hit by pitch, an error, and now it's 1-0 on Lasota. Typically a catcher. Today he plays first base as he takes ball two outside. Jake Lasota is hitting .250 this year. He's 7 for 28. All 7 hits have gone for a single base, 4 RBIs. Second on the team with 7 walks taken this year. On 2-0, he hits a grounder down the first base line, just foul. Hugged the line all the way down to first base, and just before reaching the bag, it kicked wide of the line. 2-1 on Lasota. John McGuire on deck. The Fighting Saints trying to put some pressure early on Brady Cheezel, the right-hander who has struggled to start this season. Runners on the move on 2-1. The pitch is taken for a strike. Throw goes down to second, and it's not in time. So it's 2-2 on Lasota, but both men move up 90 feet. Luke Ketchum now stands at third base, and Eric Maffey is up to second. For Maffey, that is stolen base number 5 in 5 attempts this year. For Luke Ketchum, his 4th steal in 5 attempts. And now a big RBI spot for Jake Lasota. Swing and a miss. He chases one in the dirt. With first base no longer occupied, he heads down there but is thrown out. 2-3. He is retired on strikes. Second out of the first inning. First strikeout of the game for Cheezel. His 3rd of the season. And it's up to John McGuire. That's something that didn't seem to happen a lot last year with Jake Lasota. Didn't put up huge numbers at the plate, but always seemed to come up with men on base, and he typically delivered. I guess hitting behind a couple of 400 hitters will do that to you. It'll give you a lot of RBI chances. Weak grounder right side. Tough play for the second baseman. Tyler Dahm doesn't have a play, and it's an RBI infield single for John McGuire. 1-0. St. Francis takes the lead. So the double steal pays dividends as it allows the runner to score from third base. And McGuire puts the Saints on the board, 1-0. Luke Ketchum is the man to score on the play. Eric Maffey moves up to third base. They're at the corners with 2 outs for Brian Hidalgo. A softly hit ball, kind of a swinging bunt. Just out of the reach of Brady Cheezel. The only man who could have made the play was Tyler Dahm. And Dahm just had too far to go by the time he got to that ball. He had no chance to get McGuire, who runs pretty well, over at first base. So one of the softest hit RBI hits that McGuire will ever get in his life does make the game 1-0. And for John McGuire, that is RBI number 7 this year. Brian Hidalgo is a .438 batter. He is starting for the 6th time in the Fighting Saints 10 games played this year. Throw to first chases McGuire back. John McGuire this season has stolen 2 bases. And the Fighting Saints have already been aggressive on the base paths today. So with that in mind, Cheezel being very careful with the runner over at first. First and third, 2 down. First pitch to Brian Hidalgo. Hits the edge of his bat, and that's a foul ball for strike 1. First time today that Cheezel has pitched from ahead in the count. He's fallen behind everybody except for those who put the ball in play on the first pitch. So this is the first ball he's throwing today from a pitcher's count. He throws to first base instead, though. McGuire back in safely. 0-1 on the right-handed hitting shortstop, Brian Hidalgo. Runner is on the move. The pitch is low. No throw made down to second. So Cheezel was correct to be concerned about John McGuire. He was, in fact, thinking about running. He took off, and without a throw made, he steals his third bag of the year. 1-1 on Hidalgo, who can now triple the lead with a base hit. Fouled back off the screen, and he falls behind in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So again, Cheezel is ahead. Long first inning here for these two teams today. The Mustangs were retired 1-2-3, but in some long at-bats, they forced Sam Pileggi to throw 20 pitches in that first inning. 1-2. Golfed up the middle. That rolls out into center field. A base hit for Hidalgo. Maffey scores easily. John McGuire will make it across the plate without a throw. It is, in fact, a 2 RBI single for Brian Hidalgo, and the Fighting Saints, with back-to-back 2-out RBI hits, have taken a 3-0 lead. Stolen bases have proven huge this inning. They've stolen 3 bags, and all of them have led to runs scoring. So a runner at first after back-to-back 2-out hits. The inning continues for the third baseman. Hector Carrillo swings at the first pitch, bounces it to the shortstop. Motor gloves, throws in the dirt, and they can't get the out. Riley Runquist tried to scoop it on the bounce, but was unsuccessful. And the inning continues for the Fighting Saints. Hidalgo up to second. We'll see what the ruling is there. Fighting Saints had 2 hits and 1 error, 1 man reach on an error prior to that. That'll go as an E6. So second error of the inning. The errors, by the way, do mean that all runs this inning are unearned against Cheezel. So the game is going sideways for him, but his ERA has been pristine. Josh Kernbauer takes a ball outside. Kernbauer this season hitting .353. He's 6 for 17 in limited action to begin the year. 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, an infielder who is DHing today. 1 ball, no strikes. Kernbauer hits a high hopper. Another chance for Motor. The shortstop gloves it, throws to first, and this time he ends the inning. 2 errors in the inning for Motor helped to put 3 runs across the plate as the Fighting Saints get a pair of hits and 3 stolen bases. Off to a great start. We'll head to the second. 3-0 St. Francis. Middle of the order for Mount Mercy. Top of the second inning. They trail 3-0. 2 hits, 2 errors, and a hit by pitch. Counted for 5 first inning base runners for St. Francis as they scored the first 3 runs of the game. And a strike fired by Pileggi to Riley Runquist makes it 0-1 to start the second. Pileggi's firing strikes so far today. 15 of his 20 pitches in the first inning were in the zone as that ball is popped up to shallow right field. Maffey actually drifts back a little bit towards the line now and makes the catch. A routine play for Maffey. 1 up, 1 down in the top of the second inning. 4 up, 4 down against Pileggi so far. 3 of the 4 outs have been recorded in the outfield on fly balls, but they've all been routine plays as Pileggi will try to make it 5 in a row against Mount Mercy's shortstop. Kyle Mater stands in. Swings through the first pitch for strike 1. Mater, a hometown kid from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Tough first inning in the field. He had an assist and a putout, but he also committed a pair of errors. Ball outside, 1-1. Dalton Hughes is on deck. If anybody reaches this inning, the DH Ryan Knowlton will get his first at bat of the game. Mater rolls it right to the second baseman. McGuire down to one knee, fields and throws to first, 2 away. Couple of quick outs this inning after Pileggi really had to work to get through the first. He's gotten 2 outs on 5 pitches here in the second, and Hughes bats with nobody on base. Mater ground ball was the first ground out of the game for any Mount Mercy hitter. Dalton Hughes starting his 5th game this year. It's the 9th played overall by the Mustangs. He's 3 for 11 at the plate so far. He takes ball 1. Hughes has 1 extra base hit. He's driven in 3 runs. 2 outs, no one on base. Here comes the 1-0, righty to lefty. Foul back off the screen. And the count evens up, 1-1. Pileggi is looking for his 2nd consecutive 1-2-3 inning to open up today's game. That ball just misses, and the count goes to 2-1. Patient approach so far today from Mount Mercy. They've gotten most of the calls so far, but it hasn't led to men on base. Foul back off the netting, 2-2. It's been a relatively tight strike zone so far in today's game, though we have seen 2 strikeouts between these 2 teams, no walks yet. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And Hughes goes down swinging, waved that one a little bit low, and it's held on to by Dan Gussel to end the inning. 1-2-3 go the Mustangs for the 2nd straight frame. We'll go to the bottom of the 2nd. 3-0 St. Francis. Good start for the Fighting Saints today. The home team leads 3-0 after an inning and a half, and they've got a chance to add to their lead with the 9-1-2 hitters coming up. Gussel, Vera, and Ketchum to face Brady Cheezel, the right-hander who struggled in the first inning. Didn't get a lot of help either. His first pitch this inning misses outside, ball one. In fact, I'd say the hardest hit ball in that first inning was probably the first pitch that Cheezel threw, the line drive that Vera hit right at the shortstop. Mater made the catch on it. Swing and a miss, 1-1. After that line out, nobody hit the ball hard at all, but a hit by pitch, 2 errors, and a couple of soft singles, one of them very soft. Only made it about 85 feet. Led to 3 runs scoring. Ball inside, 2-1. Dan Gussel gets the start behind the plate today, spelling Jake Lesota, who's over at first. Lesota presumably will be behind the plate at least once tomorrow, if not both games. Foul back, 2-2. In fact, since he hasn't caught since Tuesday and isn't catching today, I would guess he will probably be behind the plate for both games tomorrow. Gussel makes his 3rd start of the year. He's 1 for 5 with a homer, 2 runs scored. He takes a ball low and away. 3-2 the count to the leadoff man here in the second inning. First 3-ball count of the game from Cheezel. Payoff pitch. Soft liner out to center field and hits down for a hit. Second baseman Tyler Dahm chased after it, but he couldn't keep it on the infield. It actually landed on the infield dirt, or the fake infield dirt anyway. And on one hop made it out to center. Gussel is aboard with the leadoff single. And he checks out for the courtesy runner over at first base. I think that's Max Montgomery running. So Montgomery's aboard with nobody out for Jake Vera. Vera lined out on the first pitch he saw in the first inning. We just saw Gussel work the count full before his single to center. Throw to first base, chases Montgomery back. It was a rare long at bat for a Fighting Saint so far in this game. First time through the order, they've been very aggressive. The Mustangs went down 1-2-3 in the top of the first, and then the Saints scored 3 runs in the bottom. Vera pulls the bat back on the bunt. Montgomery takes off for second and slides in safely with a steal. 1-0 on Vera. 4 stolen bases already in the game for St. Francis. That one belongs to Max Montgomery. His first successful steal of the year in his 3rd attempt. An RBI chance now for Vera. Corner infielders think he'll be bunting. They're way in on the grass. Time is called. But I was about to say that even though Pileggi went 1-2-3 in the top of the first and Cheezel gave up 3 runs in the bottom of the first, he actually threw fewer pitches than the St. Francis right-hander did. Fighting Saints have been very aggressive early in the count. Right on cue, Vera grounds it to the right side on the second pitch of his at-bat, or third pitch rather of his at-bat. They had called a ball on an illegal motion just a moment ago. So 2-0. Pitch to Vera is grounded to the right side for the out. And Tyler Dahm takes the only out he can at first base, with Montgomery advancing to third. Runner at third, 1 down. The batter is Luke Ketchum. Ball outside. So Vera is now 0 for 2 in the game, but that one a productive out as he advances the runner. He'll get an unofficial assist credited to him, at least in my scorebook, if Ketchum drives in the run. Swing and a miss, 1-1. We're early in the game, but Mount Mercy already trails 3-0. So they're not taking any chances early on. They pull all 4 infielders in on the grass. 1-1 on Ketchum, who is hit by a pitch and scored the game's first run in the first inning. He taps it foul, 1-2. Luke Ketchum already has 8 RBIs this year, second most on the team. Trying to pick up number 9 right here. Ground ball to third base. The runner comes home and the throw goes to first. So it is an RBI for Ketchum as he grounds out 5-3. RBI number 9 this year. Max Montgomery crosses home plate. And once again, St. Francis's speed leads to a run. They've got 4 stolen bases in the game. All 4 steals have directly led to a run scoring. And this time Montgomery's speed allows him to score on a ground out to third base as well. There may have been a play at him at the plate. Jeremy Figueroa elected not to try it out. Base is empty for Eric Maffey, who takes ball 1. I don't know if Figueroa had a clean grip on that ball out of his glove. There might have been a little bit of a struggle in the transition. And that may be the reason he decided to go to first instead of home. Ball high, 2-0. Because that ball did get on him pretty quickly, and he was playing it on the grass. So it's rare you see an infielder playing in like that, have a ball hit right to him, and not throw home. But it's possible that he just wanted to make sure he was getting the out. Strike called, 2-1. Looked like he had a play on Montgomery at the plate, but it would have been close. It was not close at first base. Montgomery was running on contact. 2-1 misses inside. 3-1 on Maffey. Eric Maffey reached on an error, stole a base, and scored a run last inning. 3-1. High fly down the right field line, cutting into foul territory. That ball's out of play. And the count goes full. Dan Gussel led off the inning with a single out to center field. His pinch runner, Max Montgomery, stole second base, moved to third on a Vera ground out, and scored on a Ketchum ground out. Maffey flies it into center field. Long run back for Drake Frazier at the warning track. He can't pull it in. It skids off the wall and back out to center field. Maffey heads into third base and has a stand-up triple. Second hit of the inning, 4th of the game for St. Francis. And the first hit today for Eric Maffey, who has got a team-high 14 of them now for the year in just 10 games played. Maffey crushed that ball to deep right center. Frazier overran it a little bit. May have played a double into a triple. If he had just held back and played it off the wall, he probably could have held Maffey at second base. Jake Lasota fouls it away, strike 1. But after the ball bounced past him off the carom, Frazier had no chance to get Maffey at third base. Jake Lasota taps it right in front of home plate. It's picked up by the catcher, Soul, and the throw to first is in time to end the inning. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left at third base for the Fighting Saints in the bottom of the second inning. We'll head to the third. St. Francis 4, Mount Mercy, nothing. 4-0, St. Francis leads Mount Mercy after 2 innings of play. The Saints scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second. All the while, Mount Mercy has not had a base runner, so they'll send the bottom of their order up against Sam Pileggi in the top of the third. That starts with their designated hitter, Ryan Knowlton. Knowlton swings at the first pitch and chops it foul to the left side, strike one. Got to imagine it's difficult to be a designated hitter on a day like today. It's so cold out. At least the guys in the field are up and moving around in between at bats. Knowlton has been sitting on the bench for the last 45 minutes waiting for his first at bat. He hits it in the air out to right field. It's deep. Maffey chases it back to the warning track in the corner. Maffey sees that ball hit the wall. Knowlton has himself extra bases around second. He's chugging around for third, and he slides in safely. First hit, first base runner of the game for Mount Mercy, and it's a leadoff triple here in the third. Knowlton is a guy who I'm guessing will not have a lot of triples this year. It seemed like he was almost reluctant to head to third on that one. Not really going full speed around the bases. But similar to what we saw last inning when Drake Frazier misplayed a ball off the center field wall and turned a potential double into a triple, Eric Maffey had a lot of trouble with that ball in the corner too. Casey Soul swings at the first pitch, taps it back to the pitcher. Barehanded by Pileggi, who throws to first for the out. And Knowlton stays put at third base. One away in the inning. And that's a big first out with the runner not moving up. So the number 9 batter, Frazier, will bat with a runner at third. Still only one out in the inning, so he can still get a run in here without a hit. Going back to that Knowlton triple, Maffey was kind of caught in between. It seemed like he wasn't sure as he backed up on that ball whether he should try for the catch or play it off the wall. And as he got stuck in between, he really wasn't able to do either. Now, as he had trouble playing the ball off the right field carom, Knowlton easily made it into third. Drake Frazier takes ball one. And even though I say I don't think Knowlton will get a lot of triples this year, I stand by that remark, but that does account for half of his hits this season. He's got 4 hits so far this year and now 2 triples. Ball high, 2-0 on Frazier. Drake Frazier, the center fielder, is getting his first at-bat of the game. Frazier on the season is 2 for 17. That's a 118 batting average. He's looking for his first RBI of the year, and he's in really good position to get it with a man at third, only 1 out, and a hitter's count. Frazier takes the ball in the dirt, 3-0. It's the first 3-ball count from the St. Francis pitcher since the leadoff batter of the ball game, Tyler Dom, who ended up flying out. Dom stands on deck right now. On 3-0, Frazier taking all the way, watches ball 4 go by, and he sprints on down to first. So they're at the corners with 1 away. Good news for St. Francis is that does set up a double play on a ground ball from Tyler Dom here. That walk issued was the first of the game by either starter. There was one St. Francis hitter to get hit by a pitch, but this is the first base on balls. Grounded on the third base line, foul from Dom, strike 1. And 2 at bats today. Dom has hit 6 foul balls already. He flew out to right field on the 11th pitch of his first inning at bat. He's 0 for 1. First time through the batting order, Mount Mercy as a team has gone 1 for 8 with 2 total base runners. And Dom starts the second trip through the batting order. The 0-1 is grounded right back to the pitcher's mound. The throw goes to second for the force. The relay is not in time as the run comes in to score. So Mount Mercy is on the board, 4-1. Pileggi looked right there like he may have forgotten how many outs there were, because as soon as he gloved that ball, he immediately turned to first before realizing that he could get a force at second base. And he took an extra step before throwing to second. If he had immediately turned to second, maybe they get a double play and prevent the run from scoring. As it is, it's an RBI ground out for Tyler Dom. It's a 4-1 ball game now as Jeremy Figueroa digs in for the second time today. Figueroa swings at the first pitch and grounds it to third. Nice grab by Carrillo, who throws across the diamond and gets the third out. Mount Mercy is on the board thanks to their leadoff triple Their only hit in the inning, but it's enough to get them 1 run in the top of the third. We head to the bottom of the frame, 4-1 now, St. Francis's lead. St. Francis scored in each of their first 2 innings. They'll try to make it 3 in a row here in the bottom of the third, leading 4-1. They've out-hit Mount Mercy 4-1 as well. John McGuire has one of those 4 hits for the Fighting Saints. He bats for the second time. And the first pitch from Brady Cheezel is in there for strike 1. McGuire picked up the game's first RBI back in the bottom of the first inning. With a runner at third and 2 outs, he hit a little roller to the right side of the infield, just perfectly placed. Ball low, and the count goes to 1-1. He tapped it over to the second baseman. Tyler Dahm grabbed it and didn't make a throw. So that allowed the run to score, turned into a 3-run, 2-out rally. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Cheezel was a little bit better in the second inning, but the Saints were able to manufacture a run with a soft single, a stolen base, and then back-to-back groundouts. He gets the leadoff man here as McGuire strikes out swinging. 1 away in the third. He chased one out of the zone there. Cheezel has his second strikeout today. That brings up Brian Hidalgo, 1 out, nobody on. Second time in 3 innings that Cheezel's been able to retire the leadoff man. Only once so far in today's game, though, has he been able to get hitters back-to-back. Well, I guess this would be the second time. Lasota to end the second and McGuire to start the third. Hidalgo takes ball 1, up and away. Brian Hidalgo's got the biggest hit of the game thus far, a 2-run single. Kept that first inning going. Right off of McGuire's RBI hit. He brought home a pair of runs with 1 swing of the bat. It's fouled back and out of play. 1-1. A lot of action so far in this game, but almost all of it has come with the home team batting. The 1-1. Ground ball left side. Tough play for the third baseman. Figueroa gloves it, spins and throws to first in time. 2 down. Well played by Figueroa. That was not easy as he had to cut in front of the shortstop Mater and then reestablish his footing before throwing over to first base. 3 straight retired. 5 of the last 6 have been set down by Cheezel. And he faces the third baseman, Hector Carrillo, with 2 outs and nobody on. He's 0 for 1 so far, reached on an error in the first inning as he takes ball 1 low. First time through the batting order, Fighting Saints had 6 base runners in 9 attempts. Second time so far, just 1 base runner among the first 6 hitters. Fouled away. Count is even at 1-1. Credit to Cheezel for settling in. S-C-H-I-E-S-L. Cheezel. Tall junior right-hander from Iowa. Fouled away. He's 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. If Carrillo reaches, Josh Kernbauer will bat next. 2 outs, nobody on. This would be the first 1-2-3 inning of the game for Cheezel if he can get this final strike. Not on that pitch. Low for a ball, 2-2. The Saints aren't making it easy on him anyway. Carrillo's making him work so far. The fifth pitch of the at-bat. Got him swinging. Second strikeout of the inning. Third of the game. He came in with just 2 strikeouts total in 2 starts. He's got 3 in 3 innings today as we head to the fourth. It's the first 0 on the board for St. Francis. They still lead 4-1. Four to one, St. Francis, a third of the way through the game. Joel Vasky leads off the top of the fourth for Mount Mercy, and he takes a first pitch strike. First 6 batters of the game were retired by Sam Pileggi before he gave up his first run of the game in the top of the third on a triple, and then an RBI ground out. Ball low, 1-1. But he retired the last 2 hitters of the third inning, and now he'll try to stay on that horse and get the leadoff man here in the fourth. Vasky struck out swinging in the first. This time he lines it right to the shortstop. Brian Hidalgo puts it away for out number 1. Leadoff batter retired in the fourth, so that is 3 straight retired by Pileggi, who's only given up 2 base runners today, a triple and a walk. 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts on the stat line so far for the junior. Riley Runquist stands in for the second time, and Runquist fouls back the first pitch, strike 1. Runquist is 0 for 1. He led off the second inning and hit a high fly out to right field. Swing and a miss. The count is 0-2. Kyle Mader is in the on-deck circle. If anybody reaches this inning, Dalton Hughes will hit. 1 out, nobody on, the 0-2. Popped foul and out of play to the right. Still 0-2. Here's a smattering of fan support so far in today's game. Most of them situated right behind the third base dugout because that's the only area in the stands where there's sun right now. I think that sunlight is fading away. Ball outside, 1-2. It's one of my favorite pastimes in freezing days like this. You just watch the fans move. Usually the entire audience will just follow wherever the strip of sunlight is. Fouled away again. Still 1-2. But there's a handful of fans who are braving the shade today. And within the next 20 minutes or so, I don't think any of them will have a chance to sit in the sun anymore. 1-2 on Runquist. Pitch number 6 of the at-bat coming up from Pileggi. It's high. 2-2. Here's the 7th pitch. Runquist chops it on the ground, foul, right into his own team's dugout. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Another long at bat for a Mount Mercy hitter. They have done a great job of working the count today. Has not translated into a load of base runners, just 2 of them through 3 1/3 innings. But they are making the St. Francis pitcher work. High pop-up, shallow right field. McGuire goes back. The new right fielder comes in and makes the grab. It's not Maffey out in right field anymore. I think that is Montgomery playing right now. So he makes the catch for out number 2. .51 pitches the count so far for Sam Pileggi, which is not too many for this stage of the game. But it's more than you expect for a guy who's gotten as many quick outs as he has. Mater flies it into center field. Ketchum backs up on it, gets to the spot, and makes the catch. There's a 1 pitch out, and a nice quick end to what turns out to be a 1-2-3 inning. Led to the bottom of the 4th. 3-run lead for St. Francis. Eight, 9, and 1 due up for the Fighting Saints in the bottom of the 4th inning. They lead the game 4-1 as Josh Kernbauer digs in for the 2nd time today. Kernbauer is 0 for 1 with a ground out. Oh and 1 the count. The right-hander Cheezel sets for the next one and swings through it for strike 2. Brady Cheezel's been pumping in strikes of late. He's retired 4 consecutive batters in 6 of the last 7. 2 of them he's gotten on strikes. And now he gets his 3rd strikeout of the last 4 hitters. It's in the dirt, but the throw down to first from Casey Soul isn't enough time to get Kernbauer 1 away. So here's a guy who had just 3 strikeouts in his first 10 innings of the year, and now he's gotten 3 strikeouts against the last 4 batters that he's faced. 1 away in the 4th. 5 in a row have been set down. And the batter is Dan Gussel. 1 for 1 with a single leading to a run. He didn't score the run. It was his pinch runner, Max Montgomery, who crossed the plate, but his single did ultimately result in the run scoring. Saints have just one hit since then as he swings and foul tips it for strike one. Trying to snap the string of 5 in a row retired. One out in the fourth. Gussel takes a ball outside, 1-1. Credit to the starting pitcher. Brady Cheezel got off to a really tough start. 3 of the 4 runs he's allowed have been unearned so far, so statistically it's been a good day for him. Ball high, 2-1, but he struggled in those first 2 innings. Even though a couple of the base runners came on errors, there were 6 men on base through the first inning plus. Foul back out of play, 2-2. Mentioned it earlier, but the difference has been stark between the first time through the order and the second time through the order. Hitters went 3 for 8, a .375 average, and 6 out of 9 batters reached first time through. Ground ball to third base, picked up by Figueroa. He sets his feet, throws across the diamond, and gets the second out of the inning. Second time through the batting order, the Fighting Saints went 1 for 9 with 3 strikeouts. And now we begin the third rotation through the batting order, with Jake Vera stepping in for the third time. Vera is 0 for 2. He's lined out to short and grounded out to second. His ground out did lead to a run scoring. It advanced a runner from second to third. This is fouled back off the netting behind home plate. Strike one. I should note as well the difference between the first time through the order and the second time through. First time through, 4 guys scored. Nobody did the second time. The 0-1. Vera flips it foul to the left side. Out of play. 0-2. At least 1 run was scored in each of the first 3 innings. The Saints scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second, and then the Mustangs got 1 in the third. But Cheezel is 1 strike away from ending that trend here in the fourth. He misses low, 1-2. Mount Mercy went down in order in the top of the fourth inning, and now the Saints are trying to fight off the same fate here. And it looks like they will as Jake Vera smashes it into center field for a 2-out base hit. So they haven't scored yet, but they do present a 1-2-3 inning. That snaps a string of 6 in a row retired, and 8 out of 9 by Cheezel. Then it brings Luke Ketchum to the plate with a man at first base and 2 down. And now once again, Cheezel, you would think, will start to worry about the base runner. Fighting Saints are 4 for 4 stealing bags so far today. Jake Vera is a perfect 3 for 3 so far in the season. Luke Ketchum takes strike 1. Vera is not really taking any kind of lead over at first base. Cheezel throws over anyway. As successful as the Saints have been stealing bags today, you don't want to run into a third out when you've got Ketchum and Eric Maffey coming up, a couple of 400 hitters back-to-back. 0-1 on Luke Ketchum. Runner does go. Pitch is inside for a ball. No throw made down to second base. So the count is 1-1. Jake Vera steals second. And the Saints are now a perfect 4 for 4 stealing bases in this game. Actually, sorry, that's number 5. They're 5 for 5 in the game. 1-1 on Ketchum. He checks his swing, takes a strike. It's 1-2. It's been a productive day for Ketchum despite a lack of any hits. He was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the first, and then in the second, he grounded out, but it was an RBI. So officially 0 for 1, but he does have a run scored and a run driven in. Swing and a miss here, though. He strikes out to end the inning. Strikeout number 5 for Brady Cheezel, and he pitches around the 2-out base hit. Jake Vera is stranded at second base. Onwards to the 5th inning. 4-1, St. Francis. Dalton Hughes is the leadoff batter in the 5th inning for Mount Mercy, trailing St. Francis 4-1. They went down 4-0 in the first 2 innings. Looked like this one could be a runaway early. Hughes swings and grounds it inside the first base line and down into the right field corner. This will be extra bases for Hughes. Max Montgomery has all kinds of problems getting it out of the right field corner, and Hughes makes it into third base standing up. So we'll see if they call that one a triple or a double and an error, but either way, Hughes stands at third base with nobody out. Second time today that Mount Mercy has gotten their leadoff man to third base. First pitch of the inning. And now Mount Mercy has a chance to score their second run and cut the deficit in half. Again, they were down 4-0 so quickly. It seemed like they weren't really going to be in this game, but it's flipped. They've started to swing the bats a little bit better. Still just their second hit of the game, but they're getting guys on base now. They weren't early. Knowlton takes ball 1 low. And more importantly for Mount Mercy, Brady Cheezel has really settled in. After allowing 4 runs in the first 2 innings, he's allowed only 1 base runner the last 2 innings. The double for Dalton Hughes snaps a string of 5 straight retired by Sam Pileggi. 1-0 on Ryan Knowlton. He grounds it to the shortstop. This will get a run in as Hidalgo charges and throws over to first in time. The out is recorded. The bases are empty, but Hughes scores. And it's now 4-2. It was, by the way, ruled a double and an error. So as of now, that's an unearned run. Knowlton does pick up the RBI, his 4th this season. This guy's been awfully productive in limited time. Knowlton's only had 6 at-bats this year, but he's got 4 hits, 2 triples, a run, and 4 runs knocked in. Casey Soul bats with the bases empty. He takes ball 1. Soul grounded out to the pitcher his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Left-handed hitting catcher. He takes the ball low and in. 2-0. Four to 2 is our score. Mount Mercy has just 2 hits, but both men have scored. Swing and a miss. 2-1. Pileggi took something off of that one. There's a right-hander warming up in the bullpen right now for the Fighting Saints. So as Pileggi's pitch count continues to climb, he may be nearing the end of his day. He's pitched well. Ball 3. 3-1. This is just his 3rd 3-ball count of the game. One of the previous 2 did result in a walk. He's got just 1 walk today, 2 strikeouts. 3-1 on Casey Soul. And there's ball 4. So he walks his 2nd of the day. And Mount Mercy has a man aboard with 1 out. And we'll get a mound visit before the next at-bat. We'll also get a new base runner as the catcher Soul heads back to the dugout. We've got the courtesy runner at first base, Derek Einertson. Sophomore outfielder checks in. So it'll be Einertson at first and Drake Frazier representing the would-be tying run in the batter's box. 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 errors for Mount Mercy. 4, 5, and 1 for St. Francis. All 3 errors, 2 for the visitors and the 1 for the home team, have resulted in run scoring. So far, Brady Cheezel's stat line is impressive. 4 innings pitched. He's allowed only 1 earned run, but he's still losing this game. Most recent run against Pileggi was unearned. That'll change if Drake Frazier gets a base hit here. Frazier has no official at bat. He walked his first time up, and he swings through the first pitch this time. It's been a tough go of it offensively for Frazier this year. He was put on base on a 4-pitch walk in the first, or his first at bat, I should say, in the 3rd inning. Pickoff throw to first base chases Einertson back to the bag. Frazier has walked 3 times this year. He has just 2 safeties. 0-1. Popped up behind home plate. Gussel throws his mask aside and makes the catch. 2 down. Einertson is forced to remain at first base for the time being. And it'll be up to Tyler Dahm to try to keep this inning alive. Dahm is 0 for 2. He's got an RBI.
Second baseman, number 10, Tyler Dahm.
Flew out in the first, brought home a run with a third inning ground out. The leadoff batter now begins his third at bat of the game and takes ball one up and away. Top of the fifth inning. St. Francis led 4-0. Mount Mercy has been chipping away. 1-0 count. Upstairs, 2-0. Seven balls thrown this inning to 5 strikes by Sam Pileggi. Swing and a miss. It's 2-1. Dalton Hughes hit the leadoff double. His run continues to be unearned. Ball high. It's 3-1. Dom takes a strike. The count goes full. He thought he saw ball 4, flipped the bat aside, but he trudges back to the batter's box now with a full count. Another long at bat for Tyler Dom. He started the game off with that 11-pitch battle. Had a quick ground out in the third inning, but got an RBI out of it. Both of Mount Mercy's run-scoring plays in this game have been groundouts. Payoff pitch. Popped up, shallow right field. Montgomery comes in, and Montgomery makes the catch. Inning over. 1 run scores on 1 hit, 1 error, which does turn out to be costly, and 1 left on base. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. At the halfway point, our score is 4-2, St. Francis. Eric Maffey leads off the bottom of the 5th inning for St. Francis. Fighting Saints' once 4-run lead is down to 2. Maffey will try to build it back up again. He has not been retired yet today. 1 for 2 with a triple. He reached on an error. And he takes a strike over the inside corner here. 0-1. Maffey, Lesota, and McGuire. The trio do up this inning. Eric Maffey began this ball game as the right fielder. He's the center fielder now. Ball inside, 1-1. Typically a first baseman for the Saints. But Jake Lesota plays first base today as he gets a day off from catching. Ball outside, 2-1. Max Montgomery came into the game to play right field, where Maffey had been. And he is the number 2 hitter in the batting order now. Strike called, 2-2, which means he struck out to end last inning. I mistakenly referred to that at bat as Luke Ketchum, but Ketchum is out of the game. 2-2 on Maffey. Tapper foul. It remains 2-2. Nine of the last 11 batters have been retired by the resurgent Brady Cheezel, who came into play today with an ERA north of 11. Swing and a miss, strike three. He is mowing them down right now. 5 strikeouts against the last 8 batters. You got Montgomery to end the 4th, and now Maffey to open the 5th. And Jake Lasota bats with 1 out and nobody on. Very different conditions today. 35 degrees at first pitch. I'd say that's pitcher-friendly condition. Swing and a miss from Jake Lasota, strike 1. So it's not a huge surprise that both pitchers have been good. You know, it's a lot easier for a guy like Cheezel out there today compared to the tough competition he faced in Arizona last week. There's a fly ball into right center field, slicing away from Frazier, and he has to play it on a bounce. Lasota heads to second. Frazier's throw comes in, and it skips away from the shortstop, Kyle Mader. Jake Lasota is safe at second with a 1-out double. Frazier had a little trouble with that fly ball. I don't know whether he lost it for a moment in the sun or if he just decided it wasn't worth taking the risk, because it initially seemed like he had an opportunity maybe to catch it, but as it sliced further away from him, he peeled back and played it on a bounce. If he had gone after the ball, he may have caught it, but it turns into a double for St. Francis, and John McGuire hits now with 1 on and 1 out. He takes ball 1. As I was saying about Cheezel, the conditions are certainly more favorable to him today, but when you're off to a bad start to the season, and he has struggled through 2 starts, you get off to another bad start, it's easy to lose your composure as McGuire smashes it down the left field line. That is off the wall. Lasota comes in to score. McGuire slides into second. Back-to-back doubles for the Saints, and their lead is back to 3. McGuire has his second RBI today, his second hit of the ball game. Second hit of the inning as Lasota and McGuire get the Saints back on the board with 2 baggers. Here's Brian Hidalgo. And now Mount Mercy gets the bullpen rolling for the first time today. I was just discussing how well Cheezel had been throwing. Again, you would think you come in struggling, you give up 4 runs in the first inning and 2/3. It would be very easy to just get down on yourself and let the game slip away. He didn't do that. He settled in very nicely. But just 3 pitches here in the 5th inning have turned things around. A double for Jake Lasota, and then on a 1-0 count, a double for John McGuire. It's just a 3-pitch sequence. And just like that, the Saints have their 3-run lead back, and they've got the momentum back. So they try to knock Cheezel out of the game. First pitch ball on Brian Hidalgo. Hidalgo's 1 for 2, hit a 2-run single in the first, grounded out to third base in the 3rd. One and 0. Strike over the inside corner. It's 1-1. Hector Carrillo waits in the on-deck circle as the Saints try to build up this lead. Only 1 out. Hidalgo takes a ball downstairs, 2-1. They did appear early on to be running away. That didn't happen. But there's still time for them. One team or the other scored in each of the first 3 innings. The 4th was the first inning of the game in which neither team scored. And now here in the 5th, both teams have a run on the board. High pop-up, foul ground right side. Chased down by Riley Runquist, and he can't make the catch. It's out of play, 2-2. I don't know if there was enough room for Runquist there. If he had leaned over the railing down the right field line, maybe he could have pulled it in. It would have been a very difficult play, and he would have to have gotten to that spot a little bit quicker. So tough play. Can't make it. It's 2-2. McGuire at second base. Saints are trying to take advantage of another runner in scoring position. 2-2. In the dirt, McGuire takes a good secondary lead, but does not proceed as Casey Soul is able to smother that in the dirt. Full count now on Hidalgo. Payoff pitch. Check swing. Did he go? He did not. Ball 4. Casey Soul hopping mad about that one. He thought that should have been strike 3 on the swing, but Hidalgo is ruled not to have swung. He takes first base. McGuire still at second. 2 on, 1 out for Hector Carrillo. Cheezel is up over 80 pitches now for the game as he starts to fade. He had been red hot, struck out 5 of the last 8 hitters, but since then has given up a double, and a walk. And now the Saints can break this game wide open with a big hit from their third baseman. Ball 1 low and away. Carrillo is 0 for 2. He's been on base once. Reached on an error in the first. He struck out swinging in the third inning. One and 0. Swing and a miss. 1-1. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. 2 men on base. Carrillo, the number 7 hitter in the box for St. Francis. Josh Kernbauer is on deck. There's a wild one to the backstop, and the runners move up. McGuire advances to third base. Hidalgo to second. Action on the base paths have been huge for St. Francis today. They've stolen 5 bases and really caused headaches for Cheezel in the process. That time, they didn't need to run on their own. They advanced thanks to the wild pitch. And a base hit from Carrillo here could give St. Francis a 5-run lead. 2 balls, 1 strike. This thing is slipping away from Cheezel, trying to regain control. He fires a strike. It's 2-2. It's been a long, difficult inning. 20 pitches thrown already. 3 base runners. He just walked Hidalgo. It was his first base on balls of the game. Second free base runner thanks to a hit by pitch early. Hot shot through the infield, out to left field, a base hit. McGuire scores. Hidalgo holds up late at third base. And it's a 1-run single, 6-2, St. Francis leads. First RBI of the game for Hector Carrillo, who's now got 6 on the season. And that might be all she wrote for Brady Cheezel, who struggled early, was excellent from the second through the 4th innings, and with 1 out here in the 5th, has allowed 4 consecutive base runners. Double, walk, single, and the Saints have built their lead back up to 4, their biggest of the day. They've got runners at the corners with only 1 out as they try to add to the lead against a new Mount Mercy pitcher. I'll tell you all about him in just a moment. St. Francis leads it 6-2 in the 5th. Big moment in the game coming up. St. Francis already leads 6-2. But they're threatening for more with runners at the corners and only one out in the bottom of the fifth inning. Josh Kernbauer is coming up against a new pitcher for Mount Mercy, number 29, Josh Fleming, making his third appearance of the year. His first two relief outings, he's thrown a grand total of 4 1/3 innings, and he's given up 1 run. Fleming has allowed 1 walk and 4 hits. He has struck out 4 batters this year. He comes on in place of Brady Cheezel, who went 4 1/3 in this afternoon's game. I'll give you the final numbers for Cheezel as they come in. The 2 men on base are still his responsibility, so his final line may not be written for a little while yet. Josh Kernbauer is 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. First pitch to him misses inside, ball 1. Cheezel started poorly, recovered, and then faded over his final inning in the game. Wild pickoff attempt to first base, and another run comes in to score. Carrillo heads to second base on the error against the pitcher. That run will be charged to Cheezel, but as of now, unearned, as St. Francis continues to make hay on the base paths. They've got 5 stolen bases. They're 5 for 5. They've had 2 guys move up on a wild pitch that led to a run, and now their base-stealing prowess has led to over-concern from Josh Fleming and an errant pickoff throw. Kernbauer takes a strike, 1-1. In his 4 1/3 innings today, Cheezel allowed 8 hits, 3 of them this inning. 1 walk. He struck out 6. 7 runs on the board, all charged to him so far. Fouled away, 1 and 2. I mean, they will be charged to him, regardless of how the rest of this thing turns out. But at the moment, only 3 of the 7 are earned. That could change as this inning progresses. 1 and 2 on Kernbauer. He whacks it into right field, but foul, out of play. Still 1 and 2. Man on second base is Cheezel's responsibility as well. So again, at the moment, 4 of the 7 runs are earned. One of those unearned runs could become earned. And you could add 1 more as well if Carrillo scores at some point this inning. Another 1-2. Misses the inside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Fleming to Kernbauer. First meeting between St. Francis and Mount Mercy since the winter of 2020. Almost 3 years ago exactly was the last time these teams met up. They've had a good history over the years. Ball inside 3 and 2. They tend to play each other in non-conference action every couple of seasons. Last time that Mount Mercy was here was February 29th and March 1st. They played a 3-game weekend series, just as they are this year. And the Mustangs took 2 out of 3. Kernbauer flies in the air out to center field. Frazier moves over to his right and makes the catch. Carrillo tags but does not advance. 2 away. And that brings up the catcher, Dan Gussel. That was right before COVID shut down the rest of the season in 2020. In fact, I believe those games played here were the only games played here that whole season. It was only about a week later that things shut down for the rest of the year. And Mount Mercy and St. Francis hadn't played each other since until today. Ball 1 up high on the St. Francis catcher. 7-2, the Fighting Saints lead. They led it 4-0. Mount Mercy fought back, and they cut the lead in half. But St. Francis has scored 3 here in the bottom of the 5th, and they've got their biggest lead of the day now. 7-2 as it's fouled off by Gussel, 1-1. I talked about this on Tuesday when St. Francis played Lewis. It's always difficult to start the year as a Midwest team. You don't get to practice as much as teams in warmer climates. Your early season games are really affected by weather. It's been the case for Mount Mercy today as they had to move their 3 home games here. These 3 were supposed to be played in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. High pop-up into shallow center. Frazier comes racing in. Mater goes out on it, and the shortstop Mater makes the grab to end the inning. So a nice job by Josh Fleming to come in and clean up the mess, but 3 runs scored before he could do anything about it. 3 hits, 1 walk, 1 error. The error was actually on Fleming, and it led to a run scoring. As we head to the 6th, it's 7-2 St. Francis. Fresh off of a 3-run inning, St. Francis takes the field behind a new pitcher. Jacob Jerka is out there, first man out of the bullpen for Brian Mahalik today. Jerka's making his 4th appearance on the mound, all out of the bullpen. He's 1-0 with an even 9 ERA. In 8 innings, he's allowed 8 runs on 9 hits, 3 walks. He has struck out 8, and his first pitch misses for ball 1 on the number 2 hitter for Mount Mercy, Jeremy Figueroa. Figueroa's 0 for 2 today, a flyout and a ground out against the starter Sam Pileggi. There's a tapper foul, 1-1. Final numbers on Pileggi. He went 5 innings, and he allowed 2 runs. One of those 2 runs was unearned. Gave up just 2 total hits. He walked 1 and struck out 2. 1-1 pitch. Breaks into the zone for strike 2. Top of the batting order for Mount Mercy had no success whatsoever against Sam Pileggi. Don Figueroa, Vasky, and Runquist, the 1 through 4 hitters, went a combined 0 for 8. 2-2 the count. Actually, you could throw Kyle Mater in there as well, the number 5 batter, also 0 for 2. So the 1 through 5 went a combined 0 for 11, actually. Fouled away, still 2-2. 6 through 9 in the batting order have been a different story. Those 4 guys, Hughes, Knowlton, Soule, and Frazier, have combined to go 2 for 6 with 2 walks. 2 runs scored as well. Fouled away, still 2-2. So the first batter that Jerka faces is pretty similar to the first batter that the starting pitcher Pileggi faced. A long at bat. First batter of the game way back around 1 o'clock was Tyler Dahm, who eventually flew out on an 11-pitch at bat. There's a fly ball into right field as well. Montgomery traces it back, and he makes the catch. 1 away. So a long battle between Figueroa and Jerka, ultimately won by the pitcher. Jerka gets the first out, and that brings up Joel Vasky.
Left fielder, number 8, Joe Vasky.
Vasky is 0 for 2. He struck out swinging in the first. Lined out to the shortstop in the fourth inning. And he bats with one out and the base is empty. He swings at the first pitch and chops it to third. Charging, Carrillo, gloves. He throws to first. It's a low throw. Lasota not able to pull it in. And so Vasky is safe at first base. What I would guess will be an error on the third baseman. He could potentially give it to Lasota. The ball didn't bounce in. It was a low throw, but he could have caught it. So it's an error on one of them. Bottom line, there's a man at first base with one out. And Riley Runquist is the hitter. That's the fifth total error in this game. 2 on St. Francis, 3 on Mount Mercy. Ball 1 on Runquist. Runquist has flown out to right field twice, once to Eric Maffey and once to Max Montgomery, who came in as a defensive replacement in the fourth inning. Ball 2. It's 2-0 on Runquist. Mater is on deck. Still just 2 hits in the game for Mount Mercy, but they're trying to reapply some pressure to St. Francis, who had a good early lead. Tightened up, and now they're a little bit more comfortable again. Up by 5, but after putting a crooked number on the board in the bottom of the fifth, putting up 0 is important. Strike called with the runner on the move. He's safe at second. Count is 2-1 on Runquist, but Joel Vasky steals second base. So the Mustangs have a man in scoring position. 1 out in the inning. Takes the double play out of order. First stolen base of the game for Mount Mercy. St. Francis has swiped 5 bags. That ball hit into right field. Montgomery moves over and makes the catch. Vasky stays put at second base. Runquist flies to right field for the third time today. 2 outs, and it'll be up to Mater to try to get this run in. Mater has grounded out to second. He's flown to center. 0 for 2 in the game. He gets his first look today at Jerka. Jacob Jerka is a freshman out of Lincoln Way West High School. And his first pitch to Mater is hit on a line out to left field for a base hit. Vasky rounds third, and he comes across the plate to score the third run of the game for Mount Mercy. So they've gotten at least 1 now in 3 of the last 4 innings. Mater has an RBI single. It's the first RBI hit of the game for any Mustang. Previous 2 runs both came across on groundouts. And it's a 7-3 ball game. Here's Dalton Hughes. Hughes takes ball 1 outside. For Kyle Mater, that's RBI number 2 this year. It's his 4th hit of the season. Mount Mercy trying to make some noise here in the 6th. Soft grounder, right side. Moving to his left, John McGuire gloves it and throws over to first to end the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left. It's an unearned run against Jacob Jerka. As we head to the bottom of the 6th, 7-3, St. Francis. Top of the order for St. Francis as they try to add to their 4-run lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Vera, Montgomery, and Maffey will each get their first look at Josh Fleming, who's on for his first full inning out of the Mount Mercy bullpen. His first pitch is stroked by Vera into right center field. It drops in for a base hit. Scooped up on a couple of hops by the right fielder Dalton Hughes. So he keeps Vera at first base. A leadoff single. And just the second time today that the Saints have gotten their leadoff man on base. That brings up Max Montgomery. Montgomery, the freshman out of St. Lawrence High School, bats for the second time today. It's been an interesting day for Montgomery.
Right fielder number 1, Max Montgomery.
He has scored a run as a pinch runner, stolen a base, and then he came into the game for a different player in right field a couple of innings later, and he's 0 for 1 at the plate with a strikeout. We've got a violation on the pitcher, Fleming, so it's ball 1 on Montgomery. Second time we've seen that call against Mount Mercy today. First time it's been called against Fleming since he came on in the 5th. 1-0 count. Good speed over at first base. Montgomery squares to bunt, drops it down right in front of the plate. It's picked up by Casey Sola, and the throw to first is in time to retire Max Montgomery on the sacrifice, 2-3. Jake Vera advances to second base. So potential insurance run in scoring position as Eric Maffey digs in for the 4th time. Maffey has tripled, reached on an error, stolen a base, scored a run. Last time up, he struck out. First time today, he had been retired. First pitch from Fleming to Maffey. Popped up foul to the right side, out of play, strike 1. Fleming came on last inning with runners at first and third and 1 out. He retired both of the batters he faced. However, he did let one of the 2 inherited runners score, thanks to his own error on a pickoff attempt. Strike called. It's 0-2. That run became unearned, but it was charged to the starter. Brady Cheezel went 4 1/3 innings. He gave up 7 runs, but just 3 of them were earned. 0-2. Time called. And we've got another clock violation on Fleming. So it's 1-2. He's really taken his time with a runner on base. He's been called for 2 clock violations this inning. One-two pitch with a runner on the move. Fouled away to the right side and out of play. Maffey's been a tough out. Got off to a sensational start to the year. Hasn't been able to carry the big power that he had on the road so far to the 2 home games he's played, as he strikes out swinging for the second time today. First strikeout of the game for Josh Fleming, 2 down in the 6th. Fleming has now gone an inning and a third. He's retired 4 of the 5 batters he's faced. And he'll try to make it a clean inning, going after Jake Lasota. There is a man at second base, but if Fleming retires Lasota here, he doesn't have to worry about him. He could put a 0 on the scoreboard. Lasota takes strike 1. St. Francis scored 3 runs in the first, 1 in the second, 3 more in the 5th. Mount Mercy scored 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th. So both teams have scored 3 times today, but Saints have been able to put up a few crooked numbers. Just straight lines for the visiting side. Strike over the inside corner. It's 0-2. Jake Lasota doubled his last time up. That was the start of a 3-run 5th inning rally. Later came around to score the first of those 3 runs. Officially 1 for 3 in the game. The 0-2. Ball outside, 1-2. Fleming looks to finish off Lesota and the Saints in the bottom of the 6th. Time is called. Another violation on Fleming. 2-2. The third violation on Josh Fleming this inning. He's not being real careful on the mound right now. He stepped off the rubber a few too many times. 2-2. Ball off the outside corner. Full count. So Fleming has shot himself in the foot several times with the clock violations, and now he's fallen behind Lesota after starting him off 0-2. The count has gone full. Payoff pitch. Hit into right field in the air, and it hangs up there long enough for Dalton Hughes to come in and make the grab. A leadoff single does not lead to any runs for St. Francis as we head to the 7th. 7-3, the Fighting Saints have the lead. Seven 3 our score. Mount Mercy down to their final 9 outs, but they have scored in 3 of the last 4 innings, including the last 2 in a row. So they'll try to keep the offense moving here in the 7th. Ryan Knowlton takes ball 1 inside. Knowlton is 1 for 2. He tripled and scored in the 3rd inning. Picked up an RBI ground out in the 5th. He swings here and lines it into right center field. That ball finds the gap. Cut off by Maffey, who bobbles it. And Knowlton will keep going. He heads to second base and makes it in safely. Thanks to the 3rd error of the game on St. Francis. It'll be a base hit for Knowlton. And advanced on Maffey's bobble. So the leadoff man reaches for Mount Mercy. They've got a couple of hits now and an inning plus off of Jacob Jerka, who came on to start the 6th inning after Sam Pileggi went the first 5. Bottom of the order continues to be strong for the Mustangs. Here's Casey Soul, 0 for 1 with a walk today. Left-handed hitting catcher takes the first pitch strike. 6 through 9 in the order. Everybody has reached base at least once for Mount Mercy. All 3 of their hits have come from the bottom of the order. That's popped up foul and out of play. 0-2. And 2 of their 3 runs have come from those guys 6 through 9 as well. Those 4 batters have gone a combined 3 for 8 with 2 walks. 500 on base percentage. Ball low and away, 1-2. 1 through 5 in the order have not been quite as successful. Mount Mercy actually does have 4 hits now. The number 5 hitter, Kyle Mader, has 1 as well. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Casey Soul goes down on strikes. Jerka has his first K on the score sheet today. And that's a big first out, keeping the runner at second base. Brings up Drake Frazier. It will not be Drake Frazier batting. Evan Paulus comes in instead. Paulus, senior infielder, comes up as a pinch hitter. He's a .211 batter this year. 4 for 19 with 1 extra base hit. And Paulus comes on for Frazier and the number 9 spot in the batting order. First pitch from Jerka. In the dirt for a ball. The runner stays where he is. 1-0 on Paulus. Knowlton is the man at second. Led off the inning with a single and moved up on an error on the same play. Swing and a miss. 1-1. John McGuire's trying to keep Knowlton close to the bag, creeping in behind him on that last pitch, or before the last pitch. Jerka gave him a long look, elected not to make a pickoff attempt. McGuire comes creeping in again. But the delivery will be to the plate. Liner to right field, a base hit for Paulus. Knowlton is being waved around third base, and now a late hold sign given. And so he stays put. They're at the corners with 1 out. Mount Mercy once again trying to make a game out of this. They trailed 4-0, and they trailed 7-2, but they've been chipping away. And they're trying to do so again here in the 7th, looking to strike the scoreboard for the 3rd time in a row after they scored in both the 5th and 6th innings. Now we're back to the top of the order. 1 through 4 in the batting order for Mount Mercy have gone a combined 0 for 12. The bottom of the order have all been tough outs for Saints pitching. But the Mustangs will have to turn that around if they want to make this comeback. Tyler Dahm bats for the 4th time. He's 0 for 3 with an RBI. 2 flyouts and a ground out to his name. Runner on the move. First pitch ball. Throw goes into center field. And that allows a run to score. The 4th error of the game, including the 2nd this inning against St. Francis. And they have mostly been costly. Another unearned run scores. So a steal for Evan Paulus. No steal for Knowlton, but he scores on the air. For Paulus, that's the first stolen base this year. The count is 1-0 on Tyler Dahm, and Brian Mahalik heads out to the mound. There's a right-hander warming up in the bullpen right now for St. Francis. We'll see if any change is made mid-at-bat here. Mount Mercy is a team that, in general, doesn't steal very many bases. They don't run very much. Coming into play today, they were just 7 for 9 on the year. But today they've gone 2 for 2, and both steals have resulted in runs. This one very directly, thanks to the error. 7 combined errors in this game now. 3 have been committed by Mount Mercy, 4 by St. Francis, and as I said, they have not been cheap errors. They've all led to runs, or most have led to runs anyway. Some of them multiple runs. One 1-0 on Tyler Dahm. Jerka stays in the game, ready to go. Popped up, shallow right. Montgomery steps in on it, and Montgomery makes the catch. Paulus stays at second base with 2 outs now. And once again, at the top of the order, not able to keep the rally going. That's been the case all game. Dahm 0 for 4. Figueroa in the batter's box now. He's 0 for 3. About to step in the batter's box. Jeremy Figueroa has flown out twice and grounded out. 3-run game here. Big run for Mount Mercy, stands over at second base. Fouled off by Figueroa, strike 1. They still have 2 innings to work with after this, but down by 3 runs, they have to take advantage of everyone they get on base, especially in scoring position. If you want to finish the comeback, you just can't afford to leave those guys on. So this is a huge at-bat for Jeremy Figueroa. Figueroa flies it into center field. That sends Maffey back, going towards the warning track. Maffey reaches up in front of the track and can't pull it in. It drops in for extra bases for Figueroa. The run is in, and Figueroa dives headfirst into third base with an RBI triple. And our score is 7-5. Mount Mercy continues to make their run. Eric Maffey is playing out of position out in center, usually a first baseman. Started today's game in right field and moved over to center when Luke Ketchum departed. That's a tough play for any center fielder, but who knows? Ketchum probably would have had a better chance of making that, playing his natural position, as Vasky takes ball one. Joel Vasky is 0 for 3. He has reached on an error, though, and scored. 1-0 pitch is grounded to the left side of the infield. Backhanded stop by Hidalgo. Quick throw to first. It's not in time. It's an infield single for Vasky, and Figueroa scores. It's 7-6. The late leads have been a problem for St. Francis this week at home. On Tuesday against Lewis, they were up 7-5 late, ended up falling in that game 13-8 as they gave up 7 runs over the final 2 innings. Here today, they led 7-2 in the 6th inning. We're not even at the 7th inning stretch, and the lead has already been cut down to 1 run. Riley Rundquist is the batter. Rundquist drills it out to left field. That's down for a base hit. Vasky, representing the tying run, heads to third base and is held at third. It's a double for Rundquist. The tying run now at third base. The go-ahead run at second with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. And Kyle Mader will be the 8th batter of the inning. Nice job out in left field by Jake Vera. He made a sliding stop of the ball before it could get by him to the wall. If he had to play that one off the wall, the run almost certainly would have scored and tied it up at 7. But he saves the run with that sliding stop. And now we'll see if Jerka can keep that run from scoring. Kyle Mader has a big RBI chance here. The shortstop is 1 for 3 with an RBI today. And he takes a ball in the dirt, 1-0. After leading 4-0, St. Francis saw Mount Mercy score runs in the 3rd and 5th to cut the lead in half. Saints seem to regain control with 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th. Mader backs out of the way of a ball inside, 2-0. But the Mustangs have scored another in the top of the 6th and 3 in the 7th. They've scored in 4 out of 7 innings today. A team that came in hitting just .209 for the season and averaging only 3 runs per game hasn't looked that way today. The offense has been there. Ball in the dirt, 3-0. The defense hasn't necessarily. 3 errors have led to 4 unearned runs. The pitching hasn't been bad. The hitting got off to a slow start, but they have turned it on lately. Jacob Jerka struggling out of the bullpen for St. Francis. 3-0 pitch. Missed it again. 4-pitch walk, and the bases are loaded for Dalton Hughes. The right-hander continues to throw in the bullpen for St. Francis. Jerka has allowed 4 consecutive 2-out base runners. They will apparently stick with him for Dalton Hughes, who is 1 for 3 in the game with a double and a run scored. We're going to get a pinch runner at second base. First baseman Riley Rundquist departs, and Derek Einertson comes in for the 2nd time today. Einertson ran for Casey Soul in the 5th inning, and now he runs for Riley Rundquist here in the 7th. This could be the ball game right here. We're still only in the top of the 7th inning. But a chance for Jerka to shut the door, or a chance for Hughes to give his team their first lead. Dalton Hughes takes strike 1. Mader's at first. Einertson is at second. Joel Vasky is at third base. Mount Mercy had just 3 hits all game through the first 6 innings. They've got 5 here in the 7th. High and deep out to right field there, but he yanked it foul. And Hughes is behind in the count now, 0-2. Well, I said before, the bottom of the order has been hitting all day. The top of the order needed to contribute. If the Mustangs wanted to have any chance at making this comeback, they have contributed here in the 7th. 2, 3, 4, and 5 have all gotten on base. Triple, single, double, walk. 0-2 on Hughes. Fouled off to the left side, and that's out of play. A very long top of the 7th continues. Three runs are in for Mount Mercy, but Jerka can keep his team in the lead with one more strike. Hughes flies it into center. This is playable for Eric Maffey, but he can't find it. Now he does locate it, and he makes the catch. Drifted straight back and put it away, and Mount Mercy leaves them loaded. But they scored 3 runs on 5 hits in the inning. And as we've reached the 7th inning stretch, this thing has tightened up considerably. St. Francis 7, Mount Mercy 6. John McGuire leads off the bottom of the 7th, with the Saints really needing some insurance now, as their 7-2 lead has been cut down to 7-6. McGuire takes strike 1. John McGuire's 2 for 3 with an RBI single in the first, an RBI double in the 5th. He scored runs both times. Fouled away, out of play. It's 0-2. McGuire is facing Josh Fleming for the first time. Fleming has thrown an inning and 2/3 to this point. He's only allowed 1 hit. He's retired 5 of the 6 batters he's faced. McGuire a little bit late on that one as he stays alive, fouling it off to the right side. McGuire, Hidalgo, and Hector Carrillo are due up this inning. In the dirt, 1-2. Saints had a man in scoring position with 1 out last inning, couldn't get him in. At the time, it felt like a little bit of a missed opportunity. It feels a little bit more crucial now. Ball outside, 2-2. They were up 7-3. It felt like another insurance run or 2 would have been nice, but probably not necessary. But after Mount Mercy put 3 on the board in the top of the 7th, any run seems necessary as that ball's flown into right center, and a nice running catch made by Dalton Hughes, moving into the gap for out number 1. Hughes didn't take the most efficient route to that ball. I think he misjudged it a little bit. It was hit a little bit deeper than he thought it would have been, but he was able to adjust by making a nice catch over his shoulder. He reached back on it. And McGuire is retired for the 2nd time today. 5th time in 7 innings that the St. Francis leadoff man has failed to reach base. There's Brian Hidalgo taking ball 1 outside. Like McGuire, Hidalgo's got 2 RBIs today. He has scored 1 run. He's 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. He takes a strike, 1-1. Fleming quickly back into the windup. And Hidalgo takes a ball up and in, 2-1. Helps that there's nobody on base. Fleming was called for 3 pitch violations in the last inning plus. Ground ball to second base, gloved cleanly by Tyler Dahm. The throw not as clean, but it's dug out of the dirt by Riley Runquist. 2 away. 5 straight set down by Fleming. He's retired 7 out of 8 hitters. And if he can retire Hector Carrillo here, it'll be just the second 1-2-3 inning of the game for Mount Mercy pitchers. First one misses outside, 1-0. Carrillo is 1 for 3 today. He reached on an air. He has singled and driven in 1 run. Swing and a miss. Count is even. Fleming would love a quick inning here. After his team just scored 3, he wants to get that offense right back out there. He misses on the 1-1 pitch, and it's a hitter's count now. I don't have a number yet, but there is a right-hander warming up in the bullpen for St. Francis, so presumably he'll come in to pitch the 8th after Jerka went the last 2. Ground ball left side, and that squirts through. It's a base hit for Hector Carrillo, his 2nd hit and his 3rd time on base today, and it prevents that quick inning that Fleming was looking for. Josh Kernbauer will get a chance to bat now. Kernbauer's 0 for 3. He's grounded out, struck out, and flown out. He is the only spot in the batting order for the Fighting Saints today not to have reached base. Ball 1 high. Can't say the only player. Max Montgomery is 0 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt, but he replaced Luke Ketchum, who did reach base once in his 2 trips to the plate. Strike over the outer edge, 1-1. Runner at first base, 2 outs. Kernbauer trying to keep this inning alive after Hector Carrillo's 2-out single was the 10th hit of the game for St. Francis. One popped up behind home plate and out of play. 1-2. Casey Soul gave it a run, but it landed over the net, first row of seating. So the Saints are down to their final strike of the 7th inning. This will be the 19th pitch of the inning from Josh Fleming, who's had 2 full innings of work now. 2nd time facing Kernbauer. He misses high, 2-2. 2 1/3 innings of work, actually, from Fleming. He got Kernbauer to fly to center field the first time they matched up. This is the 10th batter being faced by Fleming, so it's the first one that he's seen twice. 7-6, St. Francis leads. They've led this one the entire way ever since scoring 3 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning. 2-2. Strike 3 called, and the inning is over. Fleming has his 2nd strikeout in 2 2/3 solid innings of work. We'll head to the 8th. St. Francis leads Mount Mercy 7-6. 7 innings down, 2 to go here at Dooley Health and Care Field. St. Francis has led throughout, but their lead is down to 1 run. And they've called on a new pitcher to try to protect this advantage. Jacob Blim, the sophomore right-hander, enters. Third appearance this year for Blim, first out of the bullpen. In 2 starts, he's 0-1 with a 4.5 ERA. His first pitch of this outing is taken downstairs for ball 1 on Ryan Knowlton. Blim has pitched 6 innings this year, and he's allowed 6 runs, 3 of them earned on 6 hits, 1 walk. He has struck out 3. His 1-0 pitch to Knowlton, taken over the outside corner, 1-1. Knowlton today is 2 for 3 with a single, a triple, 2 runs scored, and an RBI groundout. Jacob Blim is the third pitcher of the game for St. Francis. Knowlton takes it inside, 2-1. Sam Pileggi started, went 5. Allowed 2 runs, 1 of them earned. He's currently in line for the victory. 2-1. Tapper right back to the mound. Blim gloves it, flips underhand over to first base, 1 away. Jacob Jerka was the second pitcher of the game for St. Francis. Jerka went 2 innings. He allowed 4 runs, 3 of them earned by my count. Although there were 3 errors committed with him out there. I may have made a mistake somewhere in there, but I've got him for 4 runs, 3 of them earned. He allowed 6 hits. No walks, 1 strikeout in 2 innings for Jerka. Blim misses outside, 1-0 on Casey Soul. Soul is the number 8 hitter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout today. He bats with 1 out and nobody on. Ball 2. Blim has fallen behind both of the first 2 hitters, Knowlton and Soul. 4 of his first 6 pitches have been balls. Try to get back into it here against the catcher. 2-0. Ball 3. Drake Frazier is in the on-deck circle. Looking to bat with a man on base. He's in good shape right now with a 3-0 count on Casey Soul. Blim has walked just 1 so far this year. Strike called, 3-1. He's given up 6 runs in 6 innings, which is not a good number, but the rest of Blim's numbers so far this year have been good. He hasn't given up a lot of base runners. Ground ball to the right side. Picked up by the first baseman, Lesota, and he flips to the pitcher covering the bag, 2 down. So 1-3 on the Knowlton putout, now 3-1 on the Soul putout, 2 down in the inning. And it's up to Drake Frazier. Frazier bats for the 3rd time today. He's 0 for 1 with a pop out and a walk. Jack Dahm pinch hit for him in the 7th inning with Evan Paulus. Paulus picked up a big single. Frazier back in there, though, and he hits it sky high to right center field. Max Montgomery's under it. He puts it away, and the inning is over. Nice work by Jacob Blim as the Mustangs go 1-2-3 in the 8th. St. Francis now just 1 inning away from a victory. They'll try to add some insurance in the bottom of the 8th. They lead 7-6. One-run game. St. Francis leads Mount Mercy in the bottom of the 8th, 7-6. Gussel, Vera, and Montgomery are due up for the Fighting Saints in this 8th inning, the 9-1-2 hitters, as the Fighting Saints look to add some all-important insurance against Josh Fleming. Fleming's been a tough man to score against so far, though, as he misses inside for ball 1. Through 2 2/3 innings, he's allowed just 2 hits and nobody to score. Second meeting with the Fighting Saints catcher. Gussel takes a ball low, 2-0. He's 1 for 3 today with a single, leading to a run scored. Popped out the first time he faced Fleming. Fleming drops a strike over the inside corner. It's 2-1. Fleming's gone 2 2/3 shutout after the starter Brady Cheezel departed, allowing 7 runs over 4 1/3. Fouled off. The count goes to 2-2. Saints scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second. They led 4-0. Mustangs answered with 1 in the third, 1 in the fifth. They cut it to 4-2. Ball over the head of the Fighting Saints catcher. It's 3-2. St. Francis scored 3 in the bottom of the 5th and had appeared to pull away. They led 7-2. But Mount Mercy scored 1 in the 6th and 3 in the 7th to get within 7-6. Gussel grounds it to the left side, grabbed by the shortstop Mater, whose throw to first is true for out number 1. Sixth time today the leadoff man has been retired. I think we might see a pitching change here with the top of the order coming up for St. Francis. Jake Vera is getting ready to hit, but it appears that Jack Dahm will make a substitution first. Good work by Josh Fleming. He went 3 innings and did not allow a run, and he will depart. I'll tell you about the new pitcher in just a moment. 1-run lead for St. Francis in the bottom of the 8th. New pitcher for Mount Mercy is a sidearmer, Joe Gable, making his 3rd appearance of the season. The lefty has no record, no ERA in his 2 games. He's pitched 3 innings and allowed 2 runs, both unearned. 1 hit, 1 walk. He has struck out 4. He faces Jake Vera and pumps in strike 1. Vera's 2 for 4 today with a couple of singles. One out, nobody on base. Gable sets and delivers. Misses outside, 1-1. Josh Fleming went 3 innings out of the Mount Mercy bullpen. He allowed no runs, 2 hits, no walks, And he finished with 2 strikeouts. Good game out of the bullpen for Fleming. Vera waves at strike 2 and misses, and falls behind in the count. Max Montgomery is on deck. Bottom of the 8th, last chance for St. Francis to tack on to their lead. Ball outside, 2-2. Jacob Blim pitched a perfect 8th inning for St. Francis. Not sure if we'll see him come out to pitch the 9th as well, or if we see Ethan Fleming, who's warming up right now. Vera strikes out looking as that one clips the outside corner. 2 down in the 8th. The bullpen work of Mount Mercy has been very strong today. 3 1/3 innings without a run scoring. It's the 3rd strikeout for the Mount Mercy relief corps. Here's Max Montgomery. Montgomery takes a strike over the inside corner. Max Montgomery scored a run earlier today as a pinch runner. Ball inside, 1-1. And then later he came back off the bench to play right field. And as a hitter, he has struck out and dropped down a sacrifice bunt. This is his 3rd at bat. Trying to avoid a 1-2-3 inning. There's been only one of those with St. Francis at bat today. Ball outside, 2-1. Top of the order due up for Mount Mercy in the 9th. They'll have Tyler Dahm, Jeremy Figueroa, and Joel Vasky trying to come back and tie or take their first lead today. Strike 2 called on Montgomery. The Saints are down to their final strike of the 8th inning. Two and two. Ground ball back to the mound. Nice grab by the pitcher. Gable flips it over to first in time for the final out of the inning. Not an easy play by Gable on a hard hit one hopper. But Montgomery is retired, and the Saints go down 1-2-3 in the 8th. St. Francis is 3 outs away from victory. We'll see if they can get those 3 outs in just a moment. Heading to the 9th, 7-6 our score. Seven six, St. Francis leads Mount Mercy. 3 outs away from a victory. Jacob Blim will try to get those final 3 outs. His first pitch to Tyler Dahm is tapped foul for strike 1. Dahm, Figueroa, and Vasky are due up against Blim, who looked sharp in a 9-pitch, 1-2-3 8th inning. He'll try to bring the same energy here into the 9th as he looks to quash this comeback attempt from Mount Mercy. Mustangs trailed by 5. They've cut it down to 1 as Dahm grounds it up the middle. Ranging to his left, Hidalgo gloves it, throws to first. In time, a good stretch from Lesota, and he's able to keep his toes on the bag for the first out of the inning. 4 straight set down by Blim as Jeremy Figueroa steps in for the 5th time. Figueroa is 1 for 4 with an RBI triple and a run scored. That came in the 7th inning. when they put together 4 consecutive base runners with 2 outs, had a 3-run rally to turn a 7-3 deficit down to 7-6. Figueroa fouls it off for strike 1. But the most notable thing that happened in that 7th inning, if this score holds, will be the fact that they stranded the bases loaded. Figueroa takes a strike over the outside corner, 0-2. They scored 3 runs. It was a great inning for them. But they had the tying run on third base. They had the go-ahead run at second base. They were 1 hit away from completely turning this game on its head. And they weren't able to get that final big hit they needed. The 0-2 is in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody on. Joel Vasky is on deck. He's hoping to come up with the tying run already on. But Figueroa finds himself trailing in the count here. Blim trying to lock down a 6-out save. Fouled out of play. Still 1-2. Sophomore right-hander sets his next pitch. Hard grounder left side and out of the reach of a diving Hidalgo. Blim got him 0-2, couldn't put him away, and Figueroa is aboard the tying run at first base with 1 out. That brings up Joel Vasky. Vasky, the top hitter on the team so far this year, came in with a .280 batting average. 1 for 4 today. He reached on an error, stole a base, and scored a run in the 6th. Singled as part of the big 3-run rally in the 7th. An errant pickoff throw allows Figueroa to move on over to second base. Jacob Blim commits the 5th error of the game against St. Francis, and it moves the tying run into scoring position before Vasky even sees a pitch. Nobody for St. Francis has a save yet this year. If Blim can get the final 2 outs, it would be the first for the team. This is his first relief appearance this year. Joel Vasky takes the strike, 0-1. Fleming continues to throw in the bullpen down the right field line for the Fighting Saints, who are hoping they don't need him. Not today. 0-1. Inside, ball 1. Now that the double play is no longer in order, we'll almost certainly see Riley Rundquist, who waits on deck, regardless of what happens with Vasky here. 1-1 pitch. Breaks into the zone, 1-2. Blim trying to knock it down for Sam Pileggi, who was sharp in 5 innings today. Gave up only 2 hits in his 5 innings of work. And he would get the win if the score holds. 1-2. Inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nothing's coming easy here in the 9th inning. Back-to-back hitters Blim has gotten ahead of, but they have made him work. Has not been easy to put him away. 2-2. Outside, off the glove of Gussel into the backstop, and now the tying run is at third base on a 3-2 count. A single, an error, and now a wild pitch moves Vasky, or rather Figueroa, to third base. And St. Francis is forced to pull their infield in. It's been that kind of game today. Not that the offense has been bad, but there have been a lot of manufactured runs. The 3-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. A huge strikeout for Blim as Vasky is unable to put the bat on the ball and get the tying run home. It's all going to be up to Riley Rundquist. I was saying a lot of manufactured runs on the other team's mistakes. There have been 8 combined errors in this game. Riley Runquist takes the ball inside. And Jacob Blim is hoping that the 8th error committed by these two teams and the 5th on St. Francis does not result in another run scoring to tie the game. Runquist takes in the dirt. 2-0. Riley Runquist today has hit the ball in the air all 4 times. He's flown out to right field 3 times and doubled once. 4 for 19 so far this year. He takes a strike over the outside corner. 2-1. If Runquist reaches, Kyle Mader will bat next. Man at third base represents the tying run with 2 outs in the 9th inning. The 2-1 pitch. Line drive to left field, and we are tied at 7 as Riley Runquist picks up an RBI single with 2 outs in the 9th. And once again, the bad defense for St. Francis comes back to haunt them. Mount Mercy had a runner at first base with 1 out. The next batter struck out. And by the end of that at bat, the runner was at third, and that's the difference in the game. So we'll get a pinch runner over at first base. Looks like Tucker Cole running for Runquist over at first. Kyle Mader is 1 for 3 with an RBI single and a walk. His 5th at bat of the game with the go-ahead run now at first base. 7 runs, 10 hits, 3 errors for Mount Mercy. 7, 10, and 5 for St. Francis. Swing and a miss. It's 0-1 on Mader. So now we look ahead to the bottom of the 9th, which just moments ago looked like probably wouldn't exist. It'll be Maffey, Lasota, and McGuire due up for the Saints trying to avoid extra innings. Mader takes a strike. It's 0-2. Blim trying to get us to the bottom of the 9th. We'll have to throw at least one more pitch as Mader taps it foul. Still no balls and 2 strikes. Dalton Hughes waits on deck. Joe Gable came out of the bullpen for Mount Mercy in the bottom of the 8th, and he got the 2 outs that he needed. Looks like Gable will be back out there for the 9th. Ball outside, runner takes off. Throw to second is off the mark. An easy steal for Cole. And on a 1-2 count on Kyle Mader, the go-ahead run is in scoring position. Balk is called on Blim. Another St. Francis mistake. Advances a runner. And Tucker Cole advances to third base. And we'll have a meeting on the mound before the next 1-2 pitch to Kyle Mader. With 1 out, Figueroa singled. He moved to second on a bad pickoff attempt. He moved to third on a wild pitch. And then with 2 outs, following the RBI single from Riley Runquist, Tucker Cole came on as a pinch runner. He stole second base, and he's moved to third on a balk. So they're moving station to station, but they're moving very quickly from station to station. 1-2 on Mader, but if he can get a base hit right here, Mount Mercy will have their first lead today. St. Francis led this game 7-2. The Mustangs have come all the way back. 1-2 on Mader. Tapped foul once again. Mount Mercy had just 3 hits through the first 6 innings. They've got 7 over the last 3 innings, including 2 here in the 9th. Another 1-2 pitch. Ground ball right to the shortstop. Hidalgo gloves it cleanly, throws to first, and ends the inning. But a productive inning for Mount Mercy. They get a run on 2 hits, 1 error. They leave 1. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. St. Francis will try to win it and avoid extra innings. We're tied 7-7. As we head to the bottom of the 9th inning here, St. Francis will try to win this thing, and Mount Mercy will try to send it into extra innings. Bad news for the Saints is that they coughed up a 5-run lead and now have to try to win it in the bottom of the 9th. The good news for St. Francis is they've got the heart of their order up to try to get this winning run. It starts with Eric Maffey, who is 1 for 4 today. Came in hitting better than .400 for the season. He takes ball 1 outside. Maffey has tripled and reached on an error and scored 1 run so far this afternoon. 1-0 pitch from Joe Gable, misses the inside corner. 2 balls and no strikes. Maffey has struck out in each of his last 2 at-bats. This is his first time facing Joe Gable. Then he fouls it off to the right side, out of play, 2-1. The bullpen for Mount Mercy has kept them in this game. And it gave the offense a chance to catch up, which they have with 5 unanswered runs. Maffey flies it into shallow right field, sends both infielders on that side back, and catch is made by the first baseman Trey Roberson for out number 1. Roberson came on after Runquist was pinch run for the second time in the game in the top of the 9th. Jake Lasota is now the batter. 5 straight Saints have been retired. 10 of the last 11 have been set down. And Jake Lasota gets his 5th at bat. Ground ball right to the second baseman, picked up by Tyler Dahm, and the throw to first makes it 2 down, 6 in a row retired. Here's John McGuire. Last hope for the Saints to avoid extra innings. McGuire is 2 for 4 with a single, a double, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBIs. Trying to get on base and start a 2-out rally against Joe Gable, but he takes strike 1. The bullpen today for Mount Mercy has gone a combined 4 1/3 innings and allowed 2 hits and no runs. Swing and a miss. McGuire way out in front of the off-speed pitch. It's 0-2. Mount Mercy is 1 strike away from the 10th inning. The 0-2. Ball low, 1-2. They'll have the bottom of their order due up in the top of the 10th. 6, 7, and 8. Hughes, Knowlton, and Soul, if we get there, which is looking pretty good for Mount Mercy right now. With 2 outs, the base is empty. A 1-2 count on McGuire. He fouls it off and keeps the count at 1-2. McGuire's trying to extend this inning and get to Brian Hidalgo, who waits to hit next. Gable's 1-2 offering. Swung on and missed, and we're headed for the 10th. 1, 2, 3 go the Saints for the second straight inning. And after 9 full innings of play here at Dooley Health and Care Field, our score is Mount Mercy 7, St. Francis 7. We're going to extras. Top of the 10th inning, Mount Mercy came from 7-2 behind to tie it up, with the final run coming with 2 outs in the 9th inning. And now they'll try to take their first lead of the game. Dalton Hughes, Ryan Knowlton, and Casey Soul do up against a new St. Francis pitcher. It's the freshman Ethan Fleming, right-hander appearing for a team-leading 5th time this year. Fleming's first pitch to Dalton Hughes misses for ball 1. No record for Fleming so far this year. His ERA is an even 9. In 3 innings, he's allowed 4 runs, 3 of them earned on 2 hits with 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. And a wild start for Fleming, who's had some control problems over the course of the young season. He misses on his first 2 pitches of this appearance. 2-0 pitch is tapped foul, 2-1. Well, bringing in a Fleming worked pretty well for the other guys. Josh Fleming pitched 3 innings for Mount Mercy. And now Ethan Fleming, the younger of the 2, comes on for the Fighting Saints and misses high for ball 3, 3-1. Josh Fleming, the older brother, is a couple years beyond Ethan, as Ethan fires a strike 3-2. He's in his junior year at Mount Mercy. Payoff pitch, outside, ball 4. So in a tie game, the leadoff batter is walked here in the 10th inning. And Ryan Knowlton will bat with the winning run on base, or at least the leading run. May or may not prove to be the winner. St. Francis's offense has been stifled, though. They haven't scored since the 5th inning. Ryan Knowlton is 2 for 4 with a single, a triple, an RBI, and 2 runs scored. He's also grounded out twice. Chops this ball foul, strike 1. Knowlton is a 5th-year senior from the Chicagoland area, a little bit north of here. He grew up in St. Charles, Illinois. The 0-1 misses outside, 1-1. 5 balls to 3 strikes thrown so far by Fleming, who walked the first batter he faced. The 1-1 misses high. I said it coming in. Control has been an issue for the freshman at times so far this season, and it certainly has been so far today. Early in this appearance still. But with the game on the line, he can't afford to have too much more trouble. He has more trouble here. 3-1 as he misses outside. He hasn't been particularly close throughout this appearance so far. 7 balls, 3 strikes, and most of the balls have missed by a lot. 3-1. Strike over the inside corner. The count goes full. Casey Soul, the catcher, waits on deck. Knowlton's trying to move a man into scoring position for him. Payoff pitch. Swung on and flown out to center field. It's deep but playable for Maffey. Eric Maffey puts it away for out number 1. Big bounce back from Ethan Fleming after he had been wild through his first 10 pitches. He comes back to get Knowlton on the 3-2 count. And now he's a double play away from getting this game into the bottom of the 10th. Casey Soul is 0 for 3 with a walk today. He bats for the 5th time with a runner at first base here and 1 out in the 10th inning. Soul squares to bunt, pushes it foul to the third base side. Strike 1. Looks like a pinch hitter in the on-deck circle. Drake Frazier is scheduled to bat next. Ball outside, 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 on. Mount Mercy has scored 5 runs over the last 5 innings. 6 runs actually over the last 5 innings. Ball high, 2-1. After the starting pitcher, Pileggi, kept him in check for his 5 innings pitched, especially over the first 4. Gave up 1 in the 5th, and then Mount Mercy scored 1 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, and 1 in the 9th as Soul fouls it back. Soul was looking to sacrifice himself early in the at-bat. With 1 strike, he swung away, and now with 2 strikes, he will undoubtedly be doing the same. 2-2. Big at-bat here in the bottom of the 10th, or rather the top of the 10th inning. Just off the outside corner, another full count. Fleming has gone full on everyone he's faced thus far. Hughes walked. Knowlton flew out. Now 3-2 on Soul. Runner on the move. It's ball 4 in the dirt. It skips to the backstop. Hughes thought about third, but he stays put at second base. So no wild pitch. It is the second walk of the inning issued by Fleming. And there are 2 on base with only 1 out with the game on the line in the 10th inning. So we'll get a pinch hitter. Matthew Murphy steps to the plate. Another Chicago area native. He grew up on the north side of the city. Attended Notre Dame High School. We'll get a pinch runner at first base as well. Brandon Bickford this time is the courtesy runner. Einertson has already been used in another capacity, so he can't come out and resume that duty, which he played earlier. And again, it's Murphy at the plate. This is the second time today that Drake Frazier has been pinch hit for. So Frazier's day is done. And Murphy, a prolific hitter, gets his first chance today. Matthew Murphy is a junior outfielder. Came into play today hitting .313 for the season in limited action. He's 5 of 16 with 2 extra base hits and 2 RBIs. He's got the go-ahead run at second base right now with only 1 out in the 10th inning. And a potential insurance run over at first base. So far the strategy against Ethan Fleming, though, has been not to swing. Both men on base are there because they walked. Knowlton got ahead in the count 3-1, but he ultimately flew out. Overall, 11 balls, 7 strikes thrown this inning by Fleming. 18 pitches to get just 1 out. And now Murphy finally steps into the right-handed batter's box. We're ready to resume. First pitch from Fleming. Drilled foul to the left side. That's strike 1. Game 1 of a 3-game series here. They'll play a doubleheader tomorrow afternoon, starting at noon Central Time. Supposed to be a little bit warmer tomorrow. It has been a freezing cold game today and a long one. Ball outside, 1-1. This is what happens with February baseball. You expect to have some cold games. They actually moved this here because the weather's nicer here than Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Fly ball down the left field line. That's foul as well. That's 1-2. Fourth time this inning that Fleming's been able to go to 2 strikes on a hitter. He was only able to put away 1 of the previous 3, but this is the first time that he's been ahead of a batter with 2 strikes. Let's see if he can finish off Matthew Murphy. Murphy grounds it to third base. That's a foul ball. Still 1-2. Ethan Fleming is the 4th pitcher today for St. Francis after Pileggi went 5. Jacob Jerka struggled his way through 2 innings. Jacob Blim pitched 2. Fleming's in his first inning of work, and it's been a laborious one. Driven out to left field deep. Vera goes back on it, and it's over his head. This will give Mount Mercy their first lead today as 1 run scores. The second run is held up at third base. It's a double for Murphy, and Mount Mercy takes an 8-7 lead. Still only 1 out in the 10th inning. And we're back to the top of the order in Tyler Dahm. The Mustangs trailed 7-2. They have come back. They've taken an 8-7 lead with at least 1 run now in 5 of the last 6 innings. And that is all she wrote for Ethan Fleming. It's another pitching change here at Dooley Health and Care Field. I'll step aside and tell you about the new pitcher in just a moment. 1 run is in, 2 are on, 1 out in the top of the 10th for Mount Mercy. Top of the 10th inning, Mount Mercy leads 8-7. They've got runners at second and third with only 1 out. New pitcher for St. Francis is another freshman, Cody Nold. Nold is on for the third time this year, 0-1 with 11.12 ERA. In 5 2/3 innings, he's allowed 8 runs, 7 of them earned on 9 hits with 4 walks and 2 strikeouts. He faces the top of the Mustangs order, and Tyler Dahm takes ball 1. Ethan Fleming lasted just a third of an inning. He faced 4 batters, gave up 2 walks and a double, and obviously from those numbers, you can hear his problem. He didn't throw very many strikes. So Brian Mahalik turns to Nold, who has also at times this year struggled to find the zone, including so far in this appearance, up high 2-0. Tyler Dahm is 0 for 5 today. He does have an RBI. He is the only Mount Mercy player who has not yet reached base. High pop up, shallow left field. Vera comes in towards the line. Vera pulls up just shy of the foul line, makes the catch. Bickford tags from third and scores. It's 9-7 Mount Mercy, as Dahm picks up his second RBI of the game on a sacrifice fly. The other runner stays at second base as Jeremy Figueroa comes up to bat.
Third baseman, number 1, Jeremy Figueroa.
Figueroa is 2 for 5 with a single, a triple, and RBI, 2 runs scored. He scored the tying run at the top of the 9th. Mount Mercy has scored 7 unanswered runs. Ball outside, 1-0. These last 2 games that St. Francis has played at home, they have had all kinds of problems in the later innings. Late in games, the last 2 times out, they've been outscored 15-1. Ball outside, 2-0. That's from the 6th inning and later. Four of the first 5 pitches from Nold have missed the zone. Trying to straighten things out here. It's popped up. Foul ground right side. It appears to be playable for Lesota. He misjudged it, but McGuire is there to come in behind him and make the play and keep St. Francis's hopes alive in this one as the top of the 10th comes to a close. The Saints haven't scored since the 5th inning. They'll need to change that. Coming out for the bottom of the 10th, they trail 9-7. Bottom of the 10th inning, trailing 9-7. St. Francis will send Hidalgo, Carrillo, and Kernbauer to the plate. And they'll be facing a new pitcher. Number 42, John Cross, has entered for Mount Mercy, looking for his first save of the year. Cross has appeared 2 other times this year. He's pitched a total of 2 innings and allowed just 1 hit, no runs, no walks. He has struck out 4. He's been dominant in his first 2 outings, but his first pitch of today's game results in a man on base as he plunks Brian Hidalgo. And that brings the tying run to the plate for the Fighting Saints in the bottom of the 10th. It's the first time today that St. Francis is trailing. They scored 3 runs in the bottom of the first and led this game all the way into the 9th inning. They led 4-0 and then 7-2. But Mount Mercy was able to come from behind and tie the score with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. Then they added 2 more runs in the top of the 10th, and they lead 9-7. Hector Carrillo fouls back the first pitch, strike 1. He's been on base 3 times today, 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. He's reached on an error as well. And he's got 1 RBI. Hidalgo's at first base with nobody out. Cross misses outside, 1-1. Cross replaced Joe Gable, who is now in line for the victory. Gable will pick up his first win of the year if Cross can get these final 3 outs. He went an inning and 2/3, faced 5 total batters and got all of them. 2 on strikes. Fly ball down the right field line, cutting foul and out of play. 1-2. The bullpen for Mount Mercy today has been magnificent. 4 2/3 innings, no runs allowed. There have been just 3 base runners, including the man at first right now, Brian Hidalgo, who was hit by the first pitch of this 10th inning. 1-2. Fouled away. The hit by pitch snapped a string of 7 consecutive Saints retired. It had been 12 out of 13 set down. 1-2. Soft fly into shallow right field. That drops in for a base hit. Hidalgo rounds second, heads for third. Here comes the throw. Hidalgo is out at third base. Bad base running from the Fighting Saints. They have made a lot of mistakes today. 5 errors in the field. And they're in a 2-run game. They get the lead runner thrown out at third. Hidalgo is retired on the base hit from Carrillo, and once again there's a runner at first and now 1 out. Here's Josh Kernbauer. 0 for 4. He's grounded out, flown out, and struck out twice. Kernbauer takes ball 1. John Cross had only allowed 1 base runner in his first 2 appearances this year. Today he allowed 2 base runners against the first 2 hitters he faced. But with his defense backing him up, throwing out Hidalgo at third base, well, that turned things around for him. Tapped back to the pitcher. Cross's only play is at first. He gets the out there. Kernbauer is retired. As Carrillo advances to second base, the Fighting Saints are down to their final out. Last hope is their catcher, Dan Gussel. He's gone 1 for 4. He singled back in the second inning. Hasn't reached base since then. He could tie the score with a home run. He does have one of those already this year. Just by reaching base, he can keep the game alive for Jake Vera, who stands on deck. 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th inning. And strike 1 from John Cross. Cross is a junior from Cedar Rapids. Off to a great start to his junior season. Trying to make it 3 straight scoreless appearances. He fires a ball high, 1-1. 9 runs, 11 hits, 3 errors for Mount Mercy, 7, 10, and 5 for St. Francis. Swing and a miss, and the Fighting Saints are down to their final strike. Tough start to the inning for Cross with a hit by pitch and a single. But now he's 1 good pitch away from giving Mount Mercy their 3rd victory of the year. The 1-2. Over the inside corner, a called 3rd strike, and Mount Mercy is victorious today and come from behind fashion. They snap a 3-game losing streak by scoring 7 unanswered runs and defeating St. Francis by a final score of 9-7. Let's go back over the scoring in this game. It was all St. Francis early. They scored 3 runs in the first inning thanks to an RBI single from John McGuire and then a 2-run base hit from Brian Hidalgo. All 3 of those runs came with 2 outs in the inning. They extended the lead to 4-0 in the second thanks to an RBI ground out from Luke Ketchum. Mount Mercy started to chip away in the third inning. They got their first run on the board when Ryan Knowlton tripled and came home on a Tyler Dom ground out. And then in the fifth, Dalton Hughes doubled, and he scored on a Ryan Knowlton ground out. So it was 4-2. St. Francis, though, appeared to put the game away with 3 runs in the bottom of the fifth. They got back-to-back doubles from Jake Lasota and John McGuire, and then a walk from Brian Hidalgo and an RBI base hit from Hector Carrillo made it 7-2. And they seem to be rolling. Mount Mercy only had 2 hits to that stage in the game, but they turned things around as they had all kinds of success against St. Francis's bullpen. An RBI single from Kyle Mader in the 6th made it 7-3. Then in the 7th, they mounted a 2-out, 3-run rally, getting an RBI triple from Jeremy Figueroa. 2 errors in the inning, contributed to Mount Mercy adding a few more runs. They left the bases loaded, but they had drawn to within 7-6. Then in the 9th inning, Jeremy Figueroa singled. He moved to second on the 5th error of the game against St. Francis and to third on a wild pitch. And then with 2 outs and the Fighting Saints just 1 out away from a win, Riley Runquist slapped a single into left field to score Figueroa and tie it at 7. Mount Mercy added the final 2 runs in the 10th. The game-winning hit was an RBI double from Matthew Murphy. Tyler Dom's sacrifice fly put the finishing touches on a 2-run victory for the Mustangs. The final totals: 9 runs, 11 hits, 3 errors for Mount Mercy. For St. Francis, 7 runs, 10 hits, 5 errors. The winning pitcher is Joe Gable, his first win of the year. He went an inning and 2/3 perfect out of the bullpen. The losing pitcher is Ethan Fleming, who allowed 2 runs in just a third of an inning out of the Saints' pen. John Cross picked up his first save of the year with a scoreless 10th inning. Doubleheader tomorrow as these 2 teams play games 2 and 3 of this series. The first one will go 7 innings, and it'll start at noon, and game 2 will follow immediately afterwards. That's the next time we'll be on the air here for St. Francis baseball as well. Again, a noon doubleheader between St. Francis and Mount Mercy tomorrow afternoon. Today, Mount Mercy takes the opener by a final score of 9-7. Until next time, Terry Bonadonna here signing off from Joliet, Illinois for the University of St. Francis. Talk to you tomorrow.